I deserve that. Wakey, wakey, Magsy. Wakey, wakey, Magsy.
How'd I get here?
I deserve that. I deserve that. Yes, after a gap of what feels like a million years, it is me, Magnificent Matt Willis. I am joined by the podfather himself, Mags. It is time for us to kablam our way to the intro. Indeed. Thank you once again, of course, to Si and to his lordship, of course, Mags, who joined us directly straight from the studios of Chain Wrestling to here on Radio Tekkers to the Volley. Thank you very much for joining us, Mags. How are you, sir? How's your weekend been?
Yeah, to catch 2 buses to get from studio to studio. Yeah, it's been good. As I said on Chair Wrestling, been a busy weekend. We had a double bill of football. UFC was a number pay-per-view, so that went into the wee hours of the night. I feel like a bit of a zombie, but we do what we need to keep this content churning out.
Indeed. And this is the point where obviously there has been a lot of let's face it, there's been a lot of since we last did the show. Yes, I didn't stay awake for the transfer special, and for that I apologise, and to everyone out there who turned up and was asking where the hell with Matt.
We were having a jolly good chat in the pre-chat as well. With Scottish Danny was there, Dan Griffin, who's in the chat today, was there. I think Conor McCabe was there. But yeah, I had to eventually call time on it because you were asleep.
To be fair, I offer nothing but apologies. It's what I get for trying to do so many late nights. I'm not
burning the candle at both ends, and you're getting old now, Matt.
I am getting old. But having said that, I might be getting old, Mags, but I still know right from wrong. Unlike something we had to address at the start of the show, of course, because since the last show we had to address, as it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen, on behalf of everyone here at Radio Tekkers, we of course fully deplore and condemn the actions of Kurt Zuma and his brother, and hope that he has been fined £250,000 by the club, which is the maximum they could do so. I did share earlier in the Chamberlain chat that former Leeds United midfielder Olivier Decour said he's been fined, he's lost his sponsors, but it's a cat, get over it. I'm like, read the room, Olivier.
Yeah, it's just I get that he's been punished, but it still should be said that his actions are horrific. The pleasure he seemed to be getting out of abusing that cat is absolutely disgusting, and he should have the book thrown at him. And I kind of get the arguments about comparing it to things like fans being and players being abused racially. But this isn't a whataboutism situation. These two things do not correlate. Yes, it's horrific that racists don't get punished to the full extent of the law. They absolutely should. But that doesn't mean that people who abuse animals shouldn't also get punished whatsoever. And I've got a massive issue with West Ham still playing this guy. David Moyes was put in a very sticky situation where, I mean, I get why they need to win matches. They're in the hunt for Champions League spots. They want to push on for that, and Kurt Zouma is one of their better defenders. I understand the reasoning behind it, but as you said with the Olivier Decour stuff, read the room. sometimes there's things that happen that transcend football, and this was certainly one of them. It was absolutely horrific, and the fact that he was on the team sheet for this weekend's game and was only taken off because his own fans, were absolutely ripping into him. It just goes to show that this is not going to be tolerated no matter what. And I actually linked in our group chat the comments from Graham Souness, and he talks about how West Ham are a club of the people. These are working men's club from the East End of London, and they call a spade, and they don't put up with bullshit like this. And they were right to boo him. I totally agree with him. Not often I agree with Graham Souness, but on this point,
neither.
I absolutely do. When other people were trying to justify not what he had done, but the punishment levied at him, Graham Souness was a voice of truth in saying that this guy should absolutely have the book thrown at him. I totally agree with Graham Souness on that.
And the nation of animal lovers is what the UK is, and even beyond our shores. Apparently, in France, there was a penalty in place for this sort of thing.
He would have had jail time.
Indeed. Unfortunately, in the UK, West Ham have done, I think, legally all they can do in terms of punishment, apart from dropping him. I mean, he needs to be attending sensitivity classes and things like that sort of thing. I'm not saying he should be dropped forever sort of thing, but he certainly needs to go until the investigation is finished, whatever. This is, as we mentioned, this is the last we're going to mention about the actual case, because it is ongoing investigation, but we needed to make our stance clear in case people weren't aware of it. We obviously stand against what happened, and we also, as Mag was saying, and we say every show, we also, people comparing it to the whole reporting racism thing, we support the report racism message, so do that as well. Any discrimination of any kind at any time, we deplore.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So with that being said, let's talk about some football, Mag, shall we? Hang on, I'm getting rinsed in the chat already by Mr. Griffin. I can apologise all I want. I'm still getting rinsed for the foreseeable. Yes,
I don't think it means that you are getting rinsed for that. I think it means that Kurt Zuma will probably.
I was apologising for being asleep last time out.
That's fair. I mean, you deserve that.
Absolutely, and but they weren't thinking about the Zuma video in front of a child who's too young to know any better and thinking of the game.
And that's what shook me more to my core than anything. Again, as I said on Chain Wrestling, I would never condone attacking an animal as punishment if the animal's done something wrong. That you don't learn an animal like that way. What you learn is that they have to be more secretive about the things that they do wrong. But he wasn't punishing the child, the animal. He was getting enjoyment from this. He was laughing and joking. The child was laughing and joking. His brother filming behind the camera was laughing and joking. He essentially volleyed a cat across his kitchen floor. It just makes my skin crawl. And there's a Netflix documentary, not about this story, but about cats, which perfectly surmises my whole mentality with this is don't fuck with cats. Simple and clear as that.
Absolutely. Dan Griffin confirming it's about me being rinsed for sleep. You can
that's fair.
For that all you want. If falling asleep during a podcast is the worst I'll ever do in my life, I'll take that.
So I'll give a little bit of behind the scenes of that. So when that happened, I was texting Matt, because Matt is one of maybe about 4 people on wrestling social media that has my personal phone number, and I was texting him, "Are you ready, mate? Where are you?" I was DMing him, ringing him, no call whatsoever. And I knew that Chris works late, so that was a last resort for me to kind of try and get hold of Chris. But I was genuinely worried. You had gone radio silent, So I messaged Chris and I said I apologise for disturbing you at this time of night, but Matt's meant to be on a recording and he's no-showed, can't get hold of him through phone calls or text or anything like that. So Chris said, yeah, it did sound weird because it's very quiet from out of the front. It's not normally that quiet. And he come out of the bedroom and saw that you were fast asleep.
I was sitting right where I am right now, Mags. I literally in front of my laptop with my headphones on, with my head down, like that. And that was because I'd done the Royal Rumble the 2 nights before, but I was not in a good place in terms of my sleep pattern, and that's on me. It's I apologize again for worrying you, and by all means, everyone in the chat can ridicule me until they forget about it, as far as I'm concerned.
And they will.
It's all good. You're allowed to do that, absolutely. So let's start talking about the football, Mags. We've had quite a bit to talk about since the break finished, of course. Let's start with last Tuesday, which was Newcastle versus Everton. Newcastle getting up a massive win in Frank Lampard's first game in charge.
Yep, and this was the win that took them out of the relegation zone. Totally capitulated Everton. Could have potentially been more.
It was 3-1. I'm not sure I put 2-1. It was a 3-1 victory. Not my apologise.
Yeah, the first goal has been ruled as a Holgate own goal. Holtag, apologies. And then Fraser with the second one, that meant the absolute world to him. And then Trippier with the amazing free kick. Not the last time we'll be talking about Trippier's free kicks, I'm sure. And then Everton did get a goal back, which was essentially ruled as a Lascelles own goal. I think it was going goalward anyway. It's just he was the wrong place at the wrong time. But all in all, this was a real kind of change in fortunes for Newcastle. They felt like a team who were beaten, who were down. Then they've got all this Saudi money coming in. We've got Eddie Howe in as manager. Whether you think he's there for the long term or not, who's to say? But they've spent wisely, I think, in this transfer window.
We have.
There was a lot of talk of every big name player coming to St James's Park, and we've spoke about how unrealistic that was. I think they've added to their team really well with Trippier, with the likes of Chris Wood, all players who are quality but will also work hard, and it's paid absolute dividends for them.
Absolutely. I mean, they brought in Trippier, Wood, Matty Target from Villa, Dan Burn, and of course Bruno.
Yeah. And it's not like Everton were a side without new signings as well. They brought in Dele Alli and Van der Beek, who both came off the bench to star in this match, but it was very little too late, and it just shows how that kind of mentality where you think you're going to win can absolutely pay off, because Newcastle now look like a team who go into every game looking to win, believing to themselves. Yeah, correct. Whereas before that, they were almost tacked on to lose. So yeah, I think it's a great performance by Newcastle. Similarly, a piss poor performance by Everton, one of many recently, and they have been firmly dragged into this relegation battle. If there's ever a club that you would say is too big to go down, Everton would normally be in that conversation. Not now, I don't think. I think this loss, I mean, we will talk about them again later on in the show, but there seems to be a mindset where they are beating themselves before the ball's even kicked off. I don't think Frank is the guy to instill that win mentality in them. I think he's still very, very green as a manager. And stats-wise, it kind of proves that, because they had the majority of the ball, but had almost half the amount of shots that Newcastle had, and had a third of the shots on target that Newcastle had, and even corners. They had a third of the corners that Newcastle had. It was just, there just doesn't seem to be a lot of people in that Everton side, especially in this match, who were fighting for survival outside of young Anthony Gordon. I think he's called Anthony. I think
that's right. I believe that's correct. I've got to admit, I don't have much care for the blue side and Merseyside side.
Yeah, he's got a hell of a lot of passion, and in the games I've watched of Everton, he's been the fulcrum of where a lot of their good play comes from. So yeah, and I don't think they had a lot of help with injuries as well. I think Yerry Mina was injured quite early in the game. Damari Gray was injured in the first half as well. So that obviously didn't help. But yeah, there just seems to be no fight there for Everton. And whereas Newcastle, they look like they're dragging themselves out of relegation by the bootstraps.
Which is a good thing in a way, certainly. Looking at the two goals, obviously the own goal at both ends, the Sel's own goal in the 36th minute, and then Holtag in the 37th minute.
Mm-hmm.
The ironic thing is that Holtag forced Lascelles to score an own goal, and Lascelles forced Holtag to score an own goal.
Yes.
I've never seen that before.
It's not the only thing that you've never seen before that we'll talk about again, especially when we get to Arsenal later in the week.
There's certainly a season of surprises for sure. We will talk about both these teams later on, of course. But chat is lighting up a little bit. We've Conor McCabe is joining us now. Hello, Mags.
Hello, sir.
Daniel's welcoming him with open arms. Scottish Danny has joined us in the chat as well. Evening all. The entire council of Dan is with us now.
No. There's more Dans.
Okay,
Dan, not Daniel, is also a member of the Council of Dans.
Dan, not Daniel. Okay, fine. Okay. So let's move on to the next game, which is West Ham versus Watford from last Tuesday as well. Now, obviously, there was booing of the aforementioned Mr. Zuma. We'll leave that to one side because that, dominated the things. We're going to talk about the football side of things. Chance we were a premium in this game, Max. Talk us through what you remember of it.
Yeah, it was a boring game from the highlights that I watched. But there was one standout, and it's somebody we heaped a hell of a lot of praise on over this weekend when we covered West Ham. It's Jared Bowen.
Yes.
The guy has had a scintillating middle part of the season. Up to this weekend, I think he scored 7 in 7, which
7 goals in 7 games, and he had an assist in there as well.
Yeah, so he's been pivotal for West Ham. But yeah, this game, it was unmemorable, and the only thing that kind of stuck out for me was I think Tom Cleverley had a really good shot, which was certainly goal bound. That Fabianski did well to pick out the top corner, but that was it from Watford in terms of clear cut chances. But there wasn't many clear cut chances from West Ham's point. A lot of this game was played in the middle of the park.
Let's not forget, of course, they were struggling. They'd also played 120 minutes against Kidderminster Harriers.
Mm-hmm.
FA Cup the previous Saturday, of course. Who you'd think on paper they'd put to the sword. Kidderminster took the lead twice in that game. There's some incorrect there, Max.
No, you're absolutely right.
So West Ham had to bring on the big guns to get the job done, and did so in extra time. I'd like to point out, in my personal opinion, West Ham were fortunate there. But not about FA Cup, but the league, of course. Fabianski, that save for Cleverley was good. I must admit, I'd forgotten Tom Cleverley was still playing football.
That's mean. That is really mean. I think this game for me just shows how good keeper Fabianski is, and just how good of a target man Jared Bowen has been, and the way he can switch from out and out winger to the guy leading the middle of the lineup. That guy's a super talent. And as Dan has said in the chat, and we kind of said similar things at the weekend, he's got to be knocking on that door for the England squad. When you look at how out of form Kane is, you're going to need to get somebody who's able to get amongst the goals and really fight for the ball. And Jared Bowen is proving that.
He's in probably the best form of English players in the forward positions, with possible exception of Raheem Sterling at the moment, because Sterling's starting to hit form at the right time. Of course, the problem is normally we're talking about the World Cup squads and things for the summer. We've got like 10 months until the World Cup this year.
We have to get there. Yeah, that is very true.
So by that time, Kane could be red hot again, and he goes to the World Cup. Of course, Jared Bowen could be out of form by that point. Who knows at this point? But absolutely, this is the sort of thing where people are putting themselves in the shop window. People are saying Jared Bowen to Liverpool in the summer. No. Don't get me wrong, I like him a lot, but does he get in front of Diaz and Salah and Mane and Firmino and Jota? It's hard to say yes, before the midfield's starting to come back. Harvey Elliott's back fit again. Thiago's on the way back as well. Henderson and Milner will probably still be there till he's like 75 at this point. Jared Bowen, I could see him if Burnley set up anything but Burnley.
Wow, that's a come down for Jared Bowen.
I think he could launch you to mid-table at least.
I mean, yeah, you can really see somebody who's helping West Ham into the Champions League. I fancy cold, wet nights at Turf Moor.
Mag, I'm thinking about the damage that the whole incident has caused West Ham's reputation here, and some sponsors maybe telling their representatives, Jared Bowen, for example, do you really want to be playing for a club that does that? Yeah, some people may be being pressured for that sort of thing.
I think his aspirations would be higher than Burnley, and plus we've just got Val Veghorst, so we're set.
That is almost a perfect segue, Max. I've got to admit, we'll get it in one moment, of course. I'm disappointed that Roy Hodgson came out of retirement to manage Watford. Is he on a game-by-game basis in terms of owning his house there, or?
He's got to be. I mean, no manager worth their salt would even consider the Watford job, because it's a death knell waiting to happen, and I can't understand why Roy's retirement only lasted a few months. Why not just stuck to Palace, because he was doing a really good job at Palace. Handed the reins over essentially to Vieira, and then comes back to this shower of shit. I don't get it. But
Hodgson is third favourite pick to be sacked.
I mean, his odds of dying of a heart attack is probably the same as his odds of being sacked. Brendan
Rodgers is current favourite. Sean Dyche is second favourite, closely followed by Conte, Bielsa, and Hodgson at 10-1.
Yeah, Dyche won't get sacked.
Dyche is invincible.
Yeah, so that's throwing your money away. I think I'd say Conte would be the person I'd put my money on.
I'd like to point out that Ralph Ragnarok is 11-1 right now, Max.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Griffith saying Bowen to Burnley, one of my more out there picks, Matt. You notice the good cop bad cop clearly, Dan. I have way more out there picks than that. And you say, I was saying if he went to Burnley, he'd do a great job. I think he could do a great job no matter where he was. It's more case where he'll get game time. Maybe Tottenham, if Kane moves on. Maybe Tottenham. Although West Ham to Tottenham, that'll be a
brave move.
A brave move indeed. Dan can continue. Hodgson may be intended by Shoe 7 package. 3 months work for a multi-million-pound payout.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
I mean, Mags is next in line to do the Watford job. So he'll let us know what the package is in about 3 months' time when you get the job, Mags.
I've already bought a house near the.
Oh, have you? Excellent. Have you bought? I thought you were renting, Mags. Sorry.
No, I bought.
Oh,
I
you
think
bought?
I'll be there long term.
Oh, you're gonna buck the trend, are you? Excellent, excellent. Speaking of bucking the trend, Burnley not being able to buck the trend of drawing games, unfortunately.
Now, we obviously didn't cover the Burnley draw that happened earlier in this week with Watford, which was massively disappointing. It's just ironic how pretty much the same result can be a totally different outcome. This was a great point for Burnley against Man United. Man United, who were firmly entrenched in that battle for top four, really kind of looking to destroy Burnley. We're looking at us like whipping boys. But yeah, they come up against a resolute Nick Pope. He's the save he made from I think it was Cavani, where he essentially sprinted the full length of his goal to where Cavani had a full net to aim at, and Nick Pope made himself massive to be able to make that save. He also pulled off a great save against Rafael Varane. Which just Pope is absolutely superb, but the writing was on the wall when Man United had I think it was a couple of goals ruled out.
Rightly, I would point out.
Yeah, absolutely rightly. But Pogba did score a pretty good goal, and when you start going down to Man United with less than 20 minutes to go, you're almost on for a harding for nothing. But Man United have been a Jekyll and Hyde team, and in the second half, that absolutely proved true yet again when Jay Rodriguez essentially destroyed Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire and dinked the ball past De Gea, who's been on scintillating form, to put Burnley back within a shout, and then Wout Weghorst was sublime. I think he ended up getting man of the match. His through ball for Rodriguez was gorgeous. He's almost like a Peter Crouch if Peter Crouch could actually have good foot control.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad debut for him, was it? Percent of the league anyway. The through ball he put through. That was Rodriguez's 100th career league goal, I believe, and I believe as well it was also his first goal in 50.
Yep.
Which is amazing when you think how prolific he used to be.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who was knocking on the doors for England.
He was indeed, but this is they didn't make their chances count. They Burnley had chances with you at a premium for Burnley, but you took your chance and you got a very credible draw. Very credible draw.
Yeah, absolutely. And Man United absolutely dominated in terms of possession. They dominated in terms of shots. That 22 shots to Burnley's down. But Burnley have been struggling to get shots on target this season. Yeah. And one thing they were able to do were almost match Man United for shots on target. Burnley with 3, Man United with 5. So yeah, I think the introduction of Wout Weghorst really plays well into Burnley's style of football. The classic old school 4-4-2. He's a perfect target man. You know you can lump the ball up to him, and he's going to win that header. He's going to be able to bring other players into the game with the knockdown. So I think he was an ideal signing, dirt cheap as well. Doing great stuff for Wolfsburg. Got a Champions League pedigree. Him and Cornet linking up. Hopefully, it's a bit of light at the end of a dark tunnel. Whether it's going to work and get us out of the relegation zone, who's to say? But there's certainly positives there.
A lot of positives to be taken here for sure. We all heard the thoughts about him. I think bought pizza. Fantastic.
Courtesy of the store manager at Colchester.
Oh, thank you.
So, to say thank you for going up and covering yesterday and today to take a drink of pizza for you.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes, complete opportunity for. That's all good. About Weghorst, though, we knew what he was going to be all about. He was very much an impact man when he was coming from, but he's not been an impact man at Burnley. He's going to be a starting man, and this is a great start for him.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. Man United. This is Pogba's first goal of the season. We're in February.
It's actually I didn't actually even know that.
That's his first
quite
goal of the season.
Because I don't think he's had a particularly bad season as well.
He's had a great season, but I don't know if it's his first league. Is it his first? Unless
maybe.
stats were wrong.
I mean, his role as in the team seems to have changed a little bit. He used to be kind of like the out and out attacking midfielder. Now he's more in that kind of Kante role where he's controlling box to box. So perhaps it's a little bit of that. But yeah, that's quite shocking that it's his first goal of the season.
And how long have you been back at Man United now, Mags? Do you reckon? Without looking at your notes.
How long has Pogba been back at Man United?
Yeah.
Is this his third season back?
6 years.
Jesus Christ, that's flown back.
2016 summer he returned, so effectively 6 years. Yeah.
Wow, shocking.
That is amazing. I feel. But the fact is that even when they were taking the game, he didn't really step up. I mean, he scored, yeah, but he didn't really step up, did he?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't his best game, but it wasn't anybody's best game for Man United. And as we'll go on to talk about later on, Man United are struggling to close games out. They're struggling to keep momentum going from half to half. They'll have an absolutely scintillating 45 minutes of football, and then the very next half come out like they are non-league teams. Just no passion, no energy. It's really kind of jarring to watch, to be fair.
It is very jarring to watch from anyone who's looked at Man United from afar and thought, can't you just lose for once for so many years? And now they've forgotten how to win at times. It's quite therapeutic. It's quite therapeutic. But to be fair, Burnley have got that dog determination. I personally still believe they will stay up.
And this draw actually cost Man United their fourth place.
Yes, because West Ham was winning.
Because West Ham got the win, meant that West Ham went up in that spot.
Absolutely fantastic. We've got Dan Griffin in the chat chipping in with Rangnick. Got it right for once. Has brought in a psychologist to try and help with Man United's second half impotence.
And I mean, they could use code Blue Chew to get their first delivery for a £5. That might work.
That might work. I'm talking of blue. Let's go to the other side, Manchester, the Blues. Man City versus Brentford. This is kind of, I think after the game, Pep said, we're not the best team and I don't care.
Yeah, and he personally said that he wasn't getting the best out of Raheem Mahrez, which is quite shocking, really, because he was on the score sheet with the penalty. But yeah, Pep is saying what we've said for quite a while, that Man City tend to do just enough to win. They know that they can outclass their opponents, but they don't put in that extra effort to demolish enough teams. With the names on this pitch, you would expect a cricket score of a result, but they did just enough to course by. They play at a canter a lot of the time. I mean, they had 76% of the ball, but yet only managed 15 shots in the whole of the game. That just shows that the effort isn't being put in because they don't need to put in the effort. They easily secure the 3 points and do enough to get by without having to run themselves ragged. I mean, it works because they don't have a lot of injuries because they're not exerting a lot of energy. But it's a lot of the times they're not entertaining to watch.
This is unfortunately very much the case. We look at a team like Chelsea, for example, very entertaining to watch at times. The same with Brighton, very very fun football to watch at times, but doesn't always get the job done. End of the day, all Man City care about and the fans care about is much like Arsenal back in the day, 1-0 to the Arsenal. All they care about is getting the result and getting the job done. As proven by the fact of after the game, Pep was saying, we're not the best team in the world, that's Chelsea, because they had just won the Club World Cup. A tournament Man City have never been in because they've never won the Champions League.
Correct.
I think that still bites him.
Yeah, it feels like it does because any other manager would be heaping praise on Man City for going on a run of 10, 12, 14 wins in a row, just winning after winning after winning, looking absolutely unbeatable. But he clearly sees that the effort is not being put in because by rights Brentford should have been absolutely tanked in this game. But it's still a win. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many goals you score in a season. It matters how many points you get on the board. And whether you win 1-0 or win 10-0, you still get the same 3 points.
This is the thing. And there were surprises as well in this game. Of course, John Stones started right back.
Yeah, and he actually got a lot of praise from Pep for being able to adapt like that. I think Pep singled out both Cancelo and Stones for their adaptability.
Well, we know how good Cancelo is. He can play either fullback role, and he made it into my team of the year last year. Made it into my dream team, obviously for us, of course. He was one of the first players on my draft sheet. But Kyle Walker on the bench, I'm surprised he needed to name John Stones at right back.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to kind of be in the mindset of Pep because this is a guy who's essentially won the league with no striker. So it doesn't shock me that he plays a football game with only one fullback. I don't get why Kyle Walker was on the bench. Maybe he wanted some game time for Stones. Who knows? But at the end of the day, it's still a win, and yeah, he got the job done.
And looking at the other side of things, Brentford, of course, only one shot in the first half hour, limited Man City 2, which you got to give them credit for that. And of course, they may probably be the most feel-good signing of the window, of course, which of course is signed Christian Eriksen, of course.
Yeah.
Who he did make his debut. He's short of match fitness, which is not a surprise. But he believes that he can return to something long his old self. I think the moment he comes on that pitch, everybody will just applaud him.
Yeah, no matter what team you support, whether you're a Brentford lover or a Brentford hater, that's a moment that the whole football world can enjoy.
Indeed. He was gone for 5 minutes, let's not forget that. And that was just before, that was in the game, just before we were covering one in the summer. And that was a surreal moment for us, for sure, Megs.
It was horrific.
They're definitely going to need Eriksen because they've got massive home games against Palace and Newcastle before the end of this month. And they're losing games. They're a hand of a fist at the moment. They need something to spark them into life.
Yeah, they are really, really struggling. Ironic considering the start that they had in the season where they were not scared of anybody. And now they've... up to this game, they'd lost 5 in a row. They did later in the week manage a draw, but yeah, they've got terrible form. looking up and down the table, it's the worst form in the bottom half by quite a way.
Yeah. So Brentford is our adopted team of the season, but right now they are in freefall, and
I think they'll survive, though. I think they did enough good work in the first half of the season that they can carry on that momentum, especially when you see some of the other teams who are kind of dropping like stones.
This is the thing, you see. Of course, we'll get to teams like Everton, of course, and etc. But you've got to keep in mind is that the teams below them are going to be licking their lips, thinking we've got a chance here.
Yeah, absolutely.
City go marching on, of course, and obviously their nearest rival being Liverpool, of course. Liverpool, if they win their game in hand on the 24th of April, is when it's been scheduled for, is against Leeds United, which is not a foregone conclusion.
We've seen that happen before.
Exactly. Liverpool, if they would win their game, would be under 6 points, but behind. But at the same time, they've got to play City in that time frame as well. And City have slipped up occasionally at times. Let's not forget that. They have not beaten Southampton twice this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if and as we'll see in a few moments, Southampton and other teams have pulled off some impressive scorelines. But this next game we're going to talk about, Mags, is Norwich versus Palace. The fastest goal of the season, which obviously team with Pukki, who just managed to 38 seconds on the clock, I think it was, and then Zaha showing he can be amazing and terrible in the same match.
Yeah, and this was it was interesting to watch because Norwich have struggled in front of goal. Pukki has not had the best of seasons. Rashica's certainly not had the best of seasons. But you felt that when they went ahead after 30 seconds or so, that maybe this was a turning point. And they came away with a point, but more through luck than anything. Zaha, his goal was beautiful, absolutely superb, beautifully curled in from the edge of the box, and then went to take maybe the worst penalty in the history of the Premier League. It looked like he maybe slipped when he was taking the penalty. From the replay that I saw, but it went very wide, incredibly wide, and yeah, it's not the last time we'll be talking about Zaha and mistakes, but the goal was sublime. You've got to give him that. And Norwich actually had quite a few chances in this game, which was good to see, considering that they didn't have a lot of the ball and they haven't had a lot of the ball all the way through the season. But Pukki was just he was just unable to get that final shot off. I think it was Tyrick Mitchell who intercepted a couple of times to stop him getting his shot off. But yeah, a point was fair for both teams, I think. Even though Palace would probably be very disappointed that they didn't pull off the win with that penalty.
Yeah, Palace played Norwich last on the 28th of December. They won 3-0. At that point, Norwich were rock bottom. Palace went top half.
And now Palace are 13th. I think, and they're 13th currently.
Palace have not won a game since then.
Wow, yeah, and they've got horrific form as well.
Mm-hmm.
3 draws and 2 losses in the last 5.
In fact, had Norwich won this game, they'd have been only 5 points behind Palace.
And Norwich have had a torrid time as well.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you got to give some credit to the Norwich keeper, obviously Tim Krul. But at the same time,
was it not Gunn? Was it not Angus Gunn?
Was it not Krul? I thought it was Krul. I do apologise, Mr. Gunn, if it was you.
No, I think it was Angus Gunn. Yeah.
I do apologise. Credit had to go to him, of course. Billy Gilmore is not having the impact everyone thought he was going to have.
No, he's been struggling.
Which goes to show just how good the Chelsea team he was in, making him look even better. And the Scottish team, yeah, we'll leave it on that side of things. Gaeta had an okay game.
Yeah, I like Gaeta. I think he's a very brave goalkeeper. He's certainly not scared of throwing himself in at the thick of it. He kind of like Meslier in that mould where he just seems to be fearless.
And you need to be fearless when you've got a defence as leaky as Paris at the moment, unfortunately. Now, shall we talk about Spurs?
I mean, we can.
I think we should, mainly because it was a cracking match.
Yeah, I mean,
neutral, this was great.
Conte must be absolutely ripping his hair out. I mean, he started his Spurs tenure looking unbeatable. Really instilled some fire and some strength into that Spurs side, and it's all gone tits up. They absolutely collapsed in this game. Started well with taking the lead. I think it was Bednarek with the own goal. But then we're pinned back by Broja, who has been on amazing form. Absolutely amazing. Then I think Perrault also hit the bar, so the writing was certainly on the wall for.
You can pronounce the name at least. Tanner can't pronounce his name.
So Southampton were really firing at Spurs, but then we see Son finally, with about 20 minutes to go, gives Spurs the lead.
We think that's over at that point, didn't we?
You would think so. That would have been kind of like so deflating for Southampton, but they have been just a team that won't die recently. After a struggle for Hasenhüttl in the first half of the season, I mean, there was long periods where he was one of the favourites to be sacked.
Yeah.
They've now got some grit about him of Southampton, and someone who I give a lot of grief to, Che Adams, who I didn't think was Premier League quality, couldn't hit a barn over banjo for the early part of the season. He's really started to come good, and he essentially got the winner, which came after El Younasi scored the equaliser. But everything went through Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse has been he's been an absolute star for Southampton. That again, kind of like how Southampton would have felt deflated. Spurs were absolutely killed off. But they even fired back at the end. I think it was Steven Bergwijn bundled the ball over the line, but that was ruled out.
Called it off. It took a while.
But someone who really disappointed me in this game and then in the next game, the next Spurs game we'll talk about, was Ben Davies. He was horrific. He was Harry Maguire levels of bad in terms of not being able to clear the ball, in terms of passing the ball to the opposition, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. He had two torrid games. He was certainly at fault for Broja as goal. He didn't help when El Younasi scored, and he certainly wasn't involved when Che Adams scored. He had a woeful game.
I don't like it when they try and shoehorn fullbacks into centre back positions. I don't particularly like it when they play centre backs at fullback. However, I don't care what you say, Pep Guardiola. For me, it's putting square peg in a round hole. It's like when Gerard was at Liverpool, he insisted on having 4 centre halves at the back. That's why Marcus Babbel played right back. That's why I had Jamie Carragher playing left back. I'm like, it's like when Renier was at Chelsea, he played Marcel Desailly, one of the world's best centre halves, at left wing back. What are you thinking, man?
Yeah, I mean, Spurs all the way through the team were just disappointing.
They were.
Lloris made mistake after mistake. Son was probably the best player, and even he didn't have a stellar game. Kane was anonymous. Kulishevsky,
Emerson Royale.
he was horrific. Kulishevsky didn't really get into the game much, whereas Southampton, they don't have the star power of this Tottenham team, but every Southampton player out point scored.
They played for
their
team.
Tottenham rival, and the BT Sport website nails it perfectly. If you look at the ranking system that they've got, they have Ward-Prowse as man of the match on an 8.2, and the worst player for Spurs for Southampton was Walcott at 6.7. So only a difference of 1.5 between all of the team. Just shows how hard working and how on the same page this whole squad was.
To put it in the context, by the way, people, 6.7 for Walcott is still a whole point higher than the highest Spurs player, which was Son.
Correct.
Which is not shocking. Emerson Royale was... where did he start with Emerson Royale, unfortunately? Barcelona were laughing to the bank on that one, weren't they?
Yeah, we get the pleasure of having a Barcelona fan in our live watch-alongs chat with Shaw. And even he says that they pulled Tottenham's pants down over that transfer.
Absolutely, they did. They got him off a wage bill and with money to boot because it was a loan. It was a loan deal, and then they made it a permanent deal. Yeah.
Wow.
Who's working Barcelona's transfer policy at the moment? Give them a pay rise if you can. Southampton really, really did well here. Didn't give up at any point. Spurs thought it was done. A lot of people would have turned their TVs off and well, that's that done. Very much not so. Problem is while this game was going on, there was a cracker going on over in Birmingham, of course, over at Villa Park. Aston Villa 3, Leeds United 3. What a belt this was, Max.
Yeah, and this was the Philip Coutinho show.
Wasn't it just?
Him being back at Villa was a shock in the first place. If you think of the teams that he's played for, Liverpool, Barca, Bayern, this is a coup for Aston Villa to get his services, and he has paid them back in spades already. He scored their first goal. He was pivotal in Ramsey's 2 goals that essentially put the game to bed, or so you would think. But for Dan James, who was also been doing really well.
He vitalised at Leeds, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think when he first signed, he still had that kind of a attitude where, well, maybe not attitude, but mindset that he had a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I think he's now realised at Leeds the pressure is off, so he can play more of his football without having to kind of worry about living up to the name of the club and the badge. And he's having a real purple patch. Got 2 goals in this game. But yeah, this was a really entertaining game to watch. End-to-end stuff. Both teams back and forth. In terms of shots, there were nearly 30 shots all the way through the game. Leeds going to Aston Villa and dominating in every single metric in terms of possession, shots on target, corners, just really kind of firing back. And Bielsa Ball was having a little bit of a resurgence after a dip this season. And then Ezri Konsa. Yeah, I don't get what the point of what he did was. So Villa were on the attack. Meslier ended up claiming the ball, was attempting to spread the ball out to essentially have a late attack. I think it was about 2 or 3 minutes left on the clock. And Ezri Konsa sees that Meslier is about to spread the ball out and essentially just runs in front of him on purpose. Acts like it was totally by accident, gets the booking and he's absolutely shocked. But you see the replay and it's clear he massively did it on purpose. He literally makes a point of running out and getting in the way of Meslier. Yeah, it was just ridiculous thing to do. I mean, you would think that would make him idiot of the week. But unfortunately, there's someone who did something a little bit more ridiculous still to come. But yeah, I don't get why he did that. It was daft.
Indeed, and not only that, but he also did catch him with his forearm as well. So technically speaking, that's definitely a second yellow. It wasn't red, but it was a definite second yellow for sure. Both these teams extremely entertaining this game. If you want to show anyone an example, what the Premier League to someone. There it is right there, 90 minutes right there. It was the perfect game for a neutral. It had amazing balls being played on long ranges. Coutinho looked like he hadn't missed a beat. And Gerrard, without a question, is the person who got this deal done.
Yeah.
If it had been Dean Smith, there's no way Coutinho coming here.
Yeah, he would have dismissed it out of hand. I think the getting regular first team football, and then working under Steven Gerrard, Coutinho would absolutely bite their hand off, and it's a coup for Villa. Let's not make no bones about it. He gets in every top 6 team in the country. So for Villa to get him is a great signing.
And let's not forget, of course, young Ramsey as well. Oh, he's a talent. He's a real talent.
He is, but he needs to calm that temper a little bit.
I admire the passion. I do admire the passion, but it's where Gerrard needs to just step forward a little bit more and just bring it down a little bit. And that's hopefully where your more experienced players have to just bring that in a little bit as well. But Gerrard's done so much for that team already. I mean, he brought in Digne for big money from Everton, and only loaned El Ghazi to be fair, and El Ghazi coming back in the season, so that will only strengthen their team. And Digne, he is so dangerous on that left hand side for Villa. He's like found who's alive all of a sudden. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and another signing that's actually blown me away, because all the talk in the lead up to the end of the transfer window was Digne to Paris. So for him to go to Villa, that's another huge signing, because he, in a very lackluster Everton team, he was one of the stars.
This is the thing. This is where the thing of Gerrard, he had pull power because of who he is.
And not only that, I mean, we've obviously talked about Frank Lampard over and over. He has pull power because of who he is, because of the player he is. The difference being that Gerrard has taken to management the right ways. He's learnt from the ground up. He's really kind of become a student of the game, where Frank Lampard still feels like somebody playing football manager with unlimited money. It's all about the big names and getting the stars in rather than building a team. It'll be interesting to see if Gerrard can make a success at Everton, where he's in the weeds, where he has to grind out results and he can't rely on
Lampard, not Gerrard, you mean?
Yeah, I meant apologies, Lampard.
I was going to say Gerrard has. To be fair, he took over Villa when they were in the weeds, and he has been grinding results out. Gerrard's proving he can get the job done so far. I mean, so far. He's
this for me feels like almost Gerrard proving he can cut it in the Premier League before he gets that inevitable Liverpool job.
As it were. He won't be for a couple of seasons, maybe 2, maybe even 2-3 seasons, I reckon, maybe. But I don't think Villa will begrudge him that, to be fair. If he can put Villa in a good place for whoever takes over, then maybe Villa could be a European side by the time he leaves them. Who knows?
I mean, the way that the top half of the table are kind of cancelling each other out, a team like Villa could sneak into those spots.
Indeed. As we're talking about Gerrard, let's talk about a team he used to be captain of. Liverpool, Leicester. This was unquestionably the Jota show. Mm-hmm. But there was some other people playing this game who also shone in this game. That'd be Luis Diaz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on his full debut as well.
Mm-hmm. He really looks real good, doesn't he? Everyone's saying like 50 million, but yeah, Liverpool were going to be signing it in the summer by all accounts. And then when Tottenham came down, Liverpool had to buy him now.
The hand was forced.
Hand was forced, and to be fair, the hand that had been forced now means that, well, Diaz looks not a real deal, but he's been contributing already. I have a lot of time for this young man already. Mag, your thoughts on this game? Because let's face it, Jota, goal in each half. Schmeichel really didn't do a good job with Van Dijk's header in the first half. You expect him to do better than that.
Yeah, and he had a rough game later on in the week as well. But yeah, how this stayed at 2-0 is beyond me with how one-sided of a game it was. I mean, Liverpool had 65% of the ball, 22 shots to Leicester's 5, and 11 on target to Leicester's 1. This was as one-sided a match as you are going to see from two essentially top half of the table teams. Liverpool absolutely courted, and they did have Salah back from the African nation. I think he came off the bench.
Yep, he hit a post.
Okay. But yeah, this was a classy performance by Liverpool. Jota, someone who makes me eat my words every single time he scores. I think he's got 17 goals this season, which is
a very good year. Yeah,
he's quickly becoming the third man in that Liverpool attack lineup. Really kind of forcing his way in Bobby Firmino's shoes. But yeah, this was a classy victory for Liverpool. Leicester really missing a goal threat in terms of Vardy. They have got Daka, but he can only be as good as the minutes that he's getting. And when he has played, he's been really, really good. I think Maddison didn't have the best of games as well. So yeah, Leicester really kind of just struggled, and Liverpool were just so dominant.
Maddison had Leicester's only chance of the game, as you mentioned, only one shot on target, which Alisson had to put over the bar. And that was at 0-0. So who knows what could have happened at that point? But let's not forget that obviously I'm going to wax Luke about Luis Diaz for the season probably, because he came into his side 18 goals in 12 games, something like 10 assists as well. Granted, the Portuguese league isn't the strongest league in the world, but you can only play in front of you, obviously. But the first club to ever play for Liverpool, he looked right at home right away. And when you think you can put Mo Salah or Mane on the bench and bring them on because you've got Diaz up there with Jota or Firmino. And you've got Minamino, of course, as well, who could always slot into one of those roles if you need him to. And Harvey Elliott's now back as well. That's a frightening going forward. And Matip is staying fit, touch wood. He hasn't had any injury niggles at all this year, so biscuit knees seem to have hardened.
And his ball, his through ball for Jota was masterful as well.
Yeah, Matip seems to be charging forward like Tony Adams back in '98. He's finding more in their box than in our box nowadays, which is fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, if he's got the opportunity to do it, why not? Certainly he adds an element to the attack.
Indeed, and it's little wonder that Brendan Rodgers is the favourite for the top if Leicester are going to have a season like this. There are 10 points off of a Europa Conference spot.
Yeah, I haven't won in the last 4 games.
You have to worry if after having 2 fifth-place finishes from Brendan Rodgers, if they're going to finish top half.
Well, they're currently in 11th, 2 points behind 10th place. They do have 2 games in hand on Southampton, but as you climb up the table, those 2 games in hand only move them up to 9th potentially. So,
if you want to put Leicester's season into context about how frail they've been from set pieces, they have let in, including penalties, 18 goals from set pieces this season. Okay,
shocking.
That doesn't sound too bad. And in general, but Wolves have conceded just 17 times in the entire campaign from all situations. That's the difference right now. Is Wolves getting job done better than Leicester at set pieces?
Yeah. So
wow.
for more context, Burnley have conceded 29 total goals, and Leicester have conceded 18 by free kicks or by set pieces alone, and they've actually conceded 41 goals, which is far and away the worst in the top half of the. I mean, I know they're just outside the top half in 11th, but nobody in the above them absolutely comes close to having as leaky defence as Leicester have.
Well, that's almost a perfect transition, mate, because from people who can't stop letting goals in to people who can't score goals, Wolves then let an Arsenal. This was Arsenal's second goal of 2022, Max.
Really? Again, something that I didn't know. Yeah, and they've had a real roller coaster of a season as well, because they started really poorly, came really good in the midpoint of the season to the essentially clawed themselves into those Champions League spots. Currently I think they've got the best chance of securing that 4th place, but you don't need idiots like Martinelli doing what he did.
Max, can you? I mean, we're talking about Gabriel's goal in a moment. It was a lucky he got the job done. VAR gave it, and it was fine, obviously. But this is possibly the most bizarre red card we have maybe seen in a decade. Talk us through it as best you can, because it takes some explaining. People so listen carefully to Uncle Max here.
I mean, I'll try. It's very, very weird. So Martinelli conceded a throw-in. Podence went to take the throw-in. Martinelli came across Podence, kind of like Ezra Konsa did with Meslier, but he pushes Daniel Podence. Not enough with enough force to send Podence to the ground, and he quickly does take the throw in. The ball goes to, I think it was Chiquinho. Who Martinelli then chases down and cynically fouls him. Now,
no, as Meg is saying there, at no point did the referee stop play. Referee actually played advantage. Mm-hmm. Which is something I haven't seen happen before.
I mean, I have seen players get retrospectively booked for incidents that have happened without stopping the passage of play. And then
I have done a lot, but I've never seen like an impeding of a throw-in given an advantage before.
Yeah, and this is where I think a precedent has been set. So essentially Martinelli fouled Podence, the play carried on, and he then fouled somebody else, which Mark Oliver, once the second foul happened and the play had stopped, he booked Martinelli for the push on Podence, and then he booked him instantly again for the foul on Chiquinho, which is essentially then a red card. That to me was fair. Both incidents were booking worthy, but it throws up the kind of mindset of when should play be stopped? Because for me, when Martinelli pushes Podence the first time, that the play should have been stopped and he should have been booked instantly. I get the ball was out of play and that Wolves wanted to hit on the break. That makes sense from a Wolves point of view, but from a game point of view, I feel that Martinelli essentially impeded Podence, and the play should have stopped, and he got the booking then, which maybe would not have led to the second booking. So it's certainly unique. It's certainly kind of is in like a very grey area of how a booking should be applied and what should happen to the ball whilst the booking is taking place. And maybe it needs a rethink of retrospectively booking players after incidents have happened, because the second foul wouldn't have happened if he'd have been booked instantly for the first foul.
Part of it's on Podence for quickly taking the throw in anyway. If he'd have waited,
I can't chastise him for that because Wolves were on the attack. Wolves would have had a quick throw in to Chiquinho would have meant that they would have had a really good chance of an attack. Martinelli stopped both the throw and the run, which is ridiculous. I agree with the free kick. I think with the sending off, I think it's just a freak set of circumstances that nobody could really have planned for.
Indeed. Arsenal's first win in 6 games, of course, and Wolves' chance to have 4 wins in a row. They've started to get a bit of momentum going on behind now, Wolves. Apparently, they complained that Arsenal were celebrating like they won the league title by beating them.
I mean,
they needed something to cheer. I'm not going to argue that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, even in the game, they were Arsenal were outclassed in terms of possession, in terms of shots, in terms of shots on target. Wolves certainly had the better of the game, so they can feel aggrieved that they didn't come away with anything in this game. I think Neves had a shot that just went wide from a free kick, and Jimenez, he did everything but score. He really tested Ramsdale throughout this game, and the goal was. There was an element of luck from it. The flick on come from, I think it was Lacazette, and it was essentially bundled over the line from Gabriel Magalhaes. So Arsenal can be grateful that they've come away with the win. But yeah, Martinelli needs a severe talking to. Absolutely.
We've been saying how give him a chance all season, and he's been delivering up until now. You need to keep calm that passion a bit. Ramsdale had a good game, though, in general. I mean, he did everything. He did his best. And he kept everything at bay. Thank goodness for them. Right. So yeah, Arsenal march on back into the 5th place spots. Wolves hanging around where they should be, more or less. Now let's get to this weekend's football match. Only an hour in.
We're only halfway through.
So we will try and rattle through a bit quicker, guys. We made reference to this already. Mainly because the first one, Man United versus Southampton. We did watch along with this game, of course. And as we mentioned earlier, Man United started like a house of fire, and then like a house of cards fell in the second half.
Yep. And again, Broja was outstanding in that second half. This was Jekyll and Hyde by Man United yet again. When Sancho scored, we thought that maybe this was going to be a repeat of last season. But
yes, 9-0, wasn't it? We mentioned it.
It was, but no, Southampton were able to claw back and.
Poor man had a cough there. We'll let young man take a drink, really.
Yeah, the second half, it's almost like these two teams switch roles. Southampton were way more aggressive, having some really good chances, and Man United were massively on the back foot. And again, we saw Maguire have a terrible game. Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't the inspiration that he should be. In fact, I felt he was incredibly lazy in this game, and especially when Rashford and Sancho teamed up for the goal, he was there trying to claim that he had a part to play in it when he clearly he didn't.
You mentioned this during the game. His ego is shining through for sure.
Yeah.
James Sancho. It's all about Rashford and Sancho.
But for me, the two stars of this game were the keepers, De Gea and Forster. Both were absolutely outstanding.
We mentioned this on commentary. Fraser Forster, he sat Bruno Fernandes down with a dummy in the first half, nonchalantly cleared Harry Maguire's attempt on goal over his head with a one-touch volley. It put Forster back in contention to go to the World Cup. He played like this for the season. Whether he starts or not, people can argue that one, but he certainly should be in the conversation.
Yeah,
and De Gea, yeah.
De Gea was great. He kept Man United in this game for so many times, and there was absolutely nothing he could do about the goal. Again, I'm going to praise him. Che Adams, just the ball to him and the way he took it was inch perfect, hitting the base of the post and going in. Absolutely great finish. I think the points deservedly shared, but yeah, this last few results for Man United have not been good for their chances of securing that fourth spot.
Southampton, for me, having not lost a game in, I believe, the last 10. Am I right to say that? I might get that wrong, Eggs.
No, they have lost they've lost one in the last 5.
That's it. Sorry, I'm just missing my notes here. They've lost one in the last 10. That's what it is. Lost one in the last 10. That's not bad. That's good.
Especially when you consider how bad they were in the first half of the season.
Indeed, and they're sitting in 10th place right now. They'll be very happy with how their season's going. Especially seeing as how, as we mentioned, last February, that'd be 2021, of course, they came here, lost 9-0. They even tweeted about it from their own Twitter account. That was better than last year. Absolutely. Could have nicked it as well, hadn't been for David De Gea. So yeah, we did talk about this at length during the watch along, of course. Guys, do feel free to look at on demand. It's in the archives. We had great fun doing it. Tanner was even up to watch that game. Yes. Brentford Palace wasn't a thrilling game, was it?
It was boring. It really. I mean, I sat through about 10 minutes of highlights from it, and it was. I feel like
10 minutes.
I've been stolen 10 minutes of my life. How Palace were able to put Brentford away. Brentford, who've been struggling for points. They will be very, very disappointed with this result. And again, Zaha didn't have the best of games. There's not really a lot more to say about the game. I think the most important part of it was seeing Christian Eriksen appear on the pitch and the reception that he got.
It was wonderful, wasn't it?
It was absolutely amazing. I believe he's making his Brentford debut in a friendly on Monday, so that'll be today.
Yes.
So hopefully that goes well, and we'll see him play some competitive football in the next few weeks. But yeah, this game was absolutely nothing to write home about.
Indeed, it was 8 months to the day that he had his cardiac arrest on the pitch at the Euros, and we look forward to hopefully being some good news about him on next time on for the volley. Hopefully next time he plays. Never know. Never know. This was this week. Most things like that is that we can move on. Basically, because Brentford Palace being 0-0, this has hurt a few actors. I'll put it that way. Palace still no win in 2022. They need wins and quickly because they're going to soon start dropping down. The point here, point there isn't going to help. We'll move on to Everton Leeds. Leeds, who did so well against Villa, not so good against Frank Lampard playing Football Manager.
Yeah, and this was for all the shit we've just give Everton in the first part of the show, they were outstanding. I've got to give them their flowers in this game. This was the Everton of last season when Dominic Calvert-Lewin was absolutely demolishing teams. There was an energy. They were bright. They were exuberant. I think it was Seamus Coleman got the opener from a Donny van de Beek cross. But yeah, they just seemed to be more energetic and more passionate. And again, Anthony Gordon was an absolute little superstar. He was involved in the second goal. I think that Keane scored. And then he got the third one. I think Richarlison tried to claim that he was the scorer of the third one, but I think Gordon got the touch.
He did. Gordon got the touch. Richarlison been credited with the assist. Yes.
Okay. But yeah, this Leeds team, they just felt flat. And they didn't get one single shot on target in the whole of the game.
And they dominated possession, didn't they, Max?
They had almost 60% of the ball and had 7 shots. Everton had 42% of the ball, had 21 shots and 10 of those on target. So that shows just how peppered Meslier was in the Leeds goal. But where has this Everton been? Where have they been all this season? If they can put performances like this in, they'll soon drag their way out of that relegation fight. But they need to be performing at this level week in, week out, and that's something I wouldn't quite bet my house on just yet.
There is someone. I've been looking for some of the comments on Twitter and on various websites, and there's one that stood out to me about this Everton game, and I'm saying this with razor blades in my throat. From an Everton fan saying, sat outside the ground, emotionally drained, we're in a relegation fight, and those 3 points were huge. Van der Beek's a fantastic loan signing, Gordon our little gem, and we'll throw to Lampard. Credit to the manager. You managed to rid the vibes of Benitez in a few weeks. You're starting to improve the way we play. Well, no one can argue that Van der Beek looked great in this game.
He were, yeah. He's somebody we've always had a soft spot for, but he's just never. He was never given the opportunity. He seemed to be a signing that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wasn't happy with. Never got the game time. So hopefully Everton, he'll be able to shine a little bit more. And if he puts in performances like this, he'll be essentially undroppable.
Well, he'll hope he's undroppable. But the fact is, he's only on loan, of course, and Man United want him back allegedly.
But will he want to go back, or is this going to be another Jesse Lingard situation where he's forced back?
It's the thing, of course, with Lingard, of course, he's going to leave at the end of the season regardless. So, they've missed their chance to maybe sell him for decent bit of cash. I mean, Van der Beek's obviously still got a longer contract, but it's all I'll say that one side of things. Beelzebub, again, we're missing here. Is his time running out?
I mean, this win didn't even get Everton above Leeds in the table, so there's a little bit of breathing space there. But you compare this Leeds to the Leeds of last season, it's night and day. Even though on paper the team is way stronger. So yeah, I would be concerned if I was a Leeds fan.
We'll keep our eye on these developments as they develop, of course. We're going to move on to Watford and Brighton. Brighton finally starting to build some momentum with their wins, but some people say it is only Watford. But let's not forget, Watford also beat Man United.
Yeah, I mean, Watford are a tricky team to beat. I mean, Burnley struggled to get chances against them. So they're not a team that you can count on to get a win. The problem is with Hodgson in charge, I don't think they've even scored a Premier League goal yet.
They haven't scored a goal since he took charge, and they haven't won a game since November.
Yeah, and they certainly weren't in the running to win this game. Maupay and his half volley was gorgeously hit. That guy is an absolute star, and he just added that final touch to some beautiful play for Brighton. We've been impressed with how they play football for so long. But their issue has been scoring the goals and closing out games. But in this game, they were able to do that, and hopefully this will be a change of that mindset for Brighton, being a team that gets draw after draw after draw, to a team that can perhaps be involved in that push for European spots. I mean, this leaves them in, I think, ninth, but they're only 4 points away from qualifying for the Europa Conference. So,
well, in fact, Mag, should go a little bit further than that. Only 7 points before for Sunday games, obviously. 7 points to West Ham, who were fourth.
Yeah, but then you look at that battle for fourth place, and I think clawing back those 7 points and then
we were a game in hand, but.
Yeah, but then seeing the likes of Arsenal, who've got 3 games in hand over West Ham, seeing them not pick up points is something that perhaps is a little bit too much. But certainly that 7th spot with Tottenham faltering and Wolves being frugal in front of goal, this could certainly be an opportunity for Brighton to get into Europe, which will be absolutely stunning.
Absolutely. And there's little wonder that Graham Potter's his name was being dangled around with Newcastle job at one point, and also he's still being linked with Man United. And I think he would do good work at Man United, but would he be allowed to do his own thing? Because Woodward had he gone? Is he staying in the season now? Is he gone?
I think he's still there till the end of the season. I think
he meant to go in December, wasn't he? But he didn't, did he?
Yeah, with the rigmarole that's happened with Solskjaer, I think he's stayed on till the end of the season.
We Hodgson. This is probably the highest job of his career he's ever taken. His side was booed off at half and full time. He's 74. Is Roy Hodgson. And since he turned 65, so at 9 years, he's done 150 Premier League games, only the third manager after Sir Alex Ferguson and Bobby Robson to do so.
Wow.
So Hodgson, he has seen it all, and he has been brilliant as a manager, but this, for me, was a job he should have done, not answered the phone.
Yeah, this I can only think that it's a monetary situation. They threw absolutely tons of money at him to keep him up. I don't think they'll do it. I think Watford are doomed. You just don't see where they pick up a win, unfortunately.
No, and it's only harder for them. But thankfully, they got other teams losing around them, of course, like Norwich losing to Man City, of course. What a perfect segue, Max, for a change. Now, obviously, I was hoping that Norwich, for once, were going to actually do me a favour. And for half an hour, they did. And then Raheem Sterling learned where the top corner was.
I mean, for that half an hour as well, Norwich were more than holding their own.
Hit the post themselves, yes.
Yeah. Timo Pukki had a great shot from that really kind of tested Edison. I think it was Hanley who ended up hitting the post.
Yeah.
But you're right, this ended up quickly being the Raheem Sterling show. I think he got a perfect hat-trick, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. I believe it was a right, a left, and a header.
Yeah, well, it would have not been a perfect hat-trick had he scored the penalty, though, because he took the penalty with his right and then tapped it in with his left on the rebound. But yeah, again, I don't think Man City were superb, but it as Guardiola said in the post in the post media scrum, they make it look so easy. But actually being this consistently good is incredibly difficult. And they just put Norwich to the absolute sword at a canter. I mean, when you're winning 4-0 without really going into top gear, that's worrying. Absolutely worrying.
Indeed, I tipped Norwich to go down with win behind them, and for a while it was going to go that way. But they've started to get a bit of momentum going on. But it's only because the other teams around them haven't been able to play. I mean, at a point we point out over the last couple of months, really, Burnley keep having games postponed because of one reason or another. Thankfully, thanks to COVID, it's now receding again, at least for now. We can get these games back underway again. But for Liverpool's game against Leeds. We've got like 2 more months for that. And we mentioned before, is it necessarily fair that the games that were postponed before the window started will be played after it's finished, and like Newcastle brought we players in? Is that fair? Some people say they can't, they should be able to play their players. That's not exactly how it works, unfortunately. But I can see
it's not.
But I see some people are arguing those cases. But if that's the case, you wouldn't be able to play your Weghorst. So, and I think it's only fair. If they can do that, you can do that. So,
yeah, and this is a very unique season in how they've been structured and how COVID has affected a lot of the games. I think the FA have done a lot of things wrong, but certainly they're doing well to try and cram these games into a very short period. And unfortunately, we have to get these games played, whether we like it or not, and fitting them into the calendar is paramount.
Not forgetting, of course, we've got to start the season early as well. Next one, because obviously we've got to take that 2-month gap in the winter.
Yes, we do.
Indeed. Onto a game which has been described by the winning manager as a potential banana skin, and I'm tempted to say like point to the result and move on, but we have to talk about Mag, albeit briefly. Burnley vs Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, this on paper, Liverpool should have absolutely dominated, but as Klopp says, this can be a banana skin. It has been a banana skin in the past for Liverpool, and it was almost a banana skin in this game. Even though Liverpool had more than double the ball that Burnley had. Burnley actually had more shots on target than Liverpool, and a lot of that is because of how good Weghorst is. He's like I said, he's very much like a Peter Crouch who has skill with his feet. And I think Nick Pope had an outstanding game as well. Really kind of kept Liverpool frustrated at times, but the problem with Liverpool is the goals can come from absolutely anywhere, whether it's from free kicks from Trent, whether it's from the defenders flying forward, or whether it's from essentially bundling the ball over the line like Fabinho. It happens, and this is the mark of a team that wins trophies. Because when you don't have the best of games, you're still able to grind out results, and Liverpool were able to do that. Unfortunately for Burnley, we desperately need the points, but then you also have got a massive title race on, so you needed the points as well. So it was all about who wanted it more, and unfortunately for Burnley, Liverpool did want it a little bit more.
Aside from SGP and from Chatter Wrestling is in the chat and saying, are we still up? Or clearly we're still talking, sir.
We've got a hell of a lot of football to cover, that's why, sir. All these fixtures crammed in at once.
But we are rattling through the end game, back a better term. Burnley, I feel in this game would have, if it had won this game, it would have been a bonus 3 points. So I think most people would have, role reversed, would have written this game off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, but to be fair, Burnley play like this against, your Palaces or your Evertons like this, then I think they'll get the job done. On this particular occasion, just wasn't enough. Burnley had been the Bundesliga in many times. It destroyed Alberto Moreno's career.
Mm-hmm.
He never played for Liverpool again after that 2-0 defeat. So that serves him. I still have nightmares about that game. Speaking of a nightmare of a game, other side of things for Aston Villa, shows that money does talk. Unfortunately, talk us through it, Max. Villa got ruled out.
Yeah, I mean, again, not the best of games, but Newcastle, they've got some fire now. They've got some grit, and yeah, they're farting their way out of this relegation zone. I think this would have been their third win on the bounce, maybe, and Trippier was pivotal in all of those wins. And they are certainly going to miss him now that he picked up an injury. But it was him that was the difference maker in this game. His free kick was really well taken. I think it took a little bit of a deflection, but at the end of the day, they all go in. I think it was Buendia that it actually deflected off. But yeah, this game wasn't anything really to write home about in terms of action, but the grit that Eddie Howe has instilled in this Newcastle team, they seem to be fighting this relegation battle so well, as we expected them to with the amount of money that they've got now at their disposal. But as we said earlier, they've made sensible signings. Yeah, they've paid a lot of money for them, but the signings are still pretty sensible.
Indeed, but not without some big issues here, of course. Let's not forget, of course, that Kieran Trippier, who was captain for this game because the cell was unwell, went off injured. It has since been revealed he's broken his foot. He's expected to be out for 2 months.
That's a big loss, a big loss, because like I said, he's been the star of the last 3 games, all 3 games that Newcastle have been able to win. So yeah, that'll be a huge loss.
Well, they're saying 2 months on Twitter. It may be less than that. It's his 5th metatarsal, which, let's face it, he was stamped on. It could happen again quite easily and do even worse damage. You don't take risks when you've got a break, as we found out with the World Cup with Beckham all these years ago. And the left back went off injured as well, of course.
Yeah, so that's the last thing that they need, defensive injuries, but they still got the job done, and it could have been all for nothing if Watkins' goal had been allowed.
But it was very marginally off.
VAR will VAR.
To be fair, it was the right decision. It was very marginal, but it was. They didn't do it like with the arm. They did it foot to foot, which is how it should be. If you can't score it, you can't be offside. But we've mentioned it many times before, and they are interpreting the VAR much better now.
Yeah, the amount of people who've been ruled out because of shoulders and arms has been ridiculous.
Yeah, they're doing the right thing there for sure, which is great. Bruno even got on in this game in the 92nd minute.
He did, yeah. I mean, his impact was there to see.
It will come, of course. He's getting his match fitness, obviously. Villa were unfortunate here. This is a game they'll be mid-table. Gerrard has yet to put his stamp fully on this team. I think if it's secure continued full time, Villa will be easy competing for the Conference League next season. I reckon.
Yeah,
Easy.
and he was he knew that Villa didn't deserve anything from the game. He said as much in the post match scrum. He's saying that sometimes you perform to a level where you make look, but ours was nowhere near that level today, so we essentially got what we deserved. And he's right, and I'm sure Villa and Gerrard will take this performance and learn from it, because it was lacklustre from Villa.
It's the thing you see. You've got to be humble with victory and magnanimous in defeat. And Steven Gerrard certainly seems to be doing that as a manager. He's certainly not screaming in someone's face when the result doesn't go his way. He's doing well so far, and credit him for that. Eddie Howe seems to be the man for the job so far. So far, anyway. Good got back up in the chat. Graham, hello, welcome.
Hello, Graham. Good afternoon, sir.
Indeed, it's evening there now, both Mag, but near enough. Yes, we're moving on. We're going to move on from Newcastle and Villa to a game which my little nephew Jack was at. He was his 10th birthday, and he went to see his beloved Spurs play. Oh dear!
What a present that they give him.
Do you know what the ironic thing is that he absolutely loved the game. The day was great. It was pissing with rain, but he had an amazing time. The only thing that didn't go right was the result.
Yeah, and this was a loss of Spurs' own demise. Both goals were the result of calamitous, ridiculous defending, horrific goalkeeping by Hugo Lloris. They absolutely deserved to get destroyed. Jimenez essentially intercepted a weak punch out from Lloris to volley in the opener, and then I think it was Ben Davies again gave away possession with a ridiculous pass, which let Dendoncker in for the second goal, and after that it was all over. But the singing, because Spurs had nothing to offer in the rest of the game. I think that they've just been so deflated from this result, so deflated from the midweek result with Southampton, that they just gave up. Conte's now lost, like I said, 3 in a row.
It's his first time in 13 years he's done that.
Yeah, Wolves have gone on to now win 4 away games in a row, which is the first time they've done in like 40 years, I think. And it puts them in that hunt for those European spots. Spurs still up there, but this result kind of meant that Wolves leapfrogged them in terms of positions. Tottenham do have a game in hand, but do they win it? Because this Tottenham side is weak. This Tottenham side has no passion. The only player who really showed any kind of skill for me was when Kulusevski came on at half time, and even his chances were wide of the mark. So yeah, I feel for Tottenham fans.
Well, he came on over that match. He came on after 28 minutes, which got at that point in time already 2 down. Obviously, they were 2 down in 20 minutes.
I think Sessegnon had to come off, didn't it?
Yes, I still stand by the fact that Kulusevski is a good signing.
Yeah,
stand
absolutely.
by that fact.
I think Bentancur is a great signing as well. They just need time to bed in.
Indeed, and unfortunately, time is one thing Spurs do not have if they want to be in Europe next season. We're going to finish up with the last game, which was actually take a watch-along game. Leicester West Ham, and what a game, Mags!
Oh, this was so fun to watch. spoils shared. Some great football. Again, Jared Bowen had a phenomenal game. Got both our man of the matches. I think he even got the man of the match from the guys at BT Sport. But yeah, this was so entertaining, end to end. Leicester started a little bit nervy, which gave West Ham the impetus to take the lead. But Leicester were more than happy playing across the defence, and that came to their undoing quite a few times. When West Ham did get the ball, they were hot on the break, really energetic. But Leicester plugged away, got the equaliser with the Tielemans penalty, beautifully taken penalty, millimetres away from Fabianski making a really good save. And then Ricardo Pereira with the flying header from a Harvey Barnes cross. Harvey Barnes was sublime in this game. James Maddison was really, really good once he kind of got his teeth into the game. And yeah, the second half was totally different. It was West Ham who were pinned back and really kind of struggling, and Leicester were really pushing to put this game away. And then in the time lost, or extra time as us humans call it, Craig Dawson.
Call it, dude.
I did say 2 apiece.
Time lost. No, time lost is what what it officially called. I apologise.
Yeah. Craig Dawson was up for the corner. The ball whips in, and it comes off his upper arm. Hits the back of the net. The VAR was brought in, and they ruled that it was a goal. A soft goal for Leicester. They can be massively disappointed. But the issue with Leicester is, again, defensively they are weak. You can tell that they're missing Fofana. You can tell that they're missing Johnny Evans. There's no strength in that back line. And then we even got moments of madness. Aaron Cresswell had some craziness. He got stamped on early on in the game, but then kind of went mad with a handball. But yeah, I think on the whole it was an entertaining game to watch. We certainly had fun watching it, and the points share was probably fair on the balance of play, but Leicester were again, they were the architects of their own downfall by letting a sloppy second goal so late in the game.
Absolutely. At this point, the point to the bottom of the screen, of course, is the news that just breaches here. Brentford 3, Sheffield United 11-2. That's not 11. That's not a double score there. That is 11 players from Sheffield United, and Christian Eriksen played an hour and scored and provided an assist.
Oh, that's amazing! Brilliant.
Yeah, on his birthday, no, that he's 30 today.
Oh, that's really
brilliant.
Really heartwarming news.
That's a great way to actually end the episode, almost, Mags. But before we do wrap up properly, we should probably go for our player of the week.
Jared Bowen. I don't think there's any arguments about it. He scored twice. He was pivotal in the win. He was pivotal in picking up the draw against Leicester. Scored the first goal. Provided the corner for the second one. Yeah, I can't say any better than Bowen. I mean, I could essentially throw in maybe Sterling for the perfect hat trick, but those wins were expected for Man City. These were just solid performances by Jared Bowen. Very, very consistent. So, yeah, he gets it for me.
Jared Bowen is a very, 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 very worthy winner of that, Max. I personally prefer Fraser Forster because, well, he was immense twice this week. Mm-hmm. Well, I've already made the case for him being in the World Cup squad, and I think both of us actually made good points there. Both both deserving. Bowen would normally want it though.
And this will be a lot of bias, I suppose, but I do want to give a little bit of props to Wout Weghorst. I think he was amazing for Burnley in both games. Yeah, we didn't get the results that we needed, but yeah, he was very much a bright spark for Burnley, and once he finds where the goal is, he's going to be a tough opponent for everybody who comes up to the turf. So yeah, I've got to give him some props.
Indeed, you'll stay up, I guarantee it. So yeah, thank you so much to everybody who tuned in to watching us live. If you're watching us on demand, fantastic. Don't forget to give us a like, share, and subscribe here on Radio Tekkers. Mags, where can you get in touch with you?
So did my audio cut out then?
I was saying, Mags, where can people get in touch with you?
Apologies. Yeah, I don't know what happened with
we
my
are
audio
live.
then.
We are live. These things happen.
Yeah, you can follow me down here on the Twitters at PodfatherMags. It was my only social media, but I've been barrel rolled into the TikTok thing. So I think it's Mags All Pods on TikTok.
It
so
is.
Definitely come and check me out over there on the TikTok. Not that you'll see much of it. It's usually clips of podcasts that I'm involved in, but it's fun nonetheless. In terms of content, I'm all over the shop here on Radio Tekkers. Pretty much every single podcast or content that comes out, I've got my greasy little palm involved in that. But I'm also on Chair Shot with A Changing Attitude and Badlands, and also on Visionaries Global Media, where 5 Rounds rules the MMA roost. My handle on Van was at very, very old Graham.
Indeed. You can find me at the Mantech UK. You can obviously follow the show at Radio Tekkers. Follow this show at VOLLEY Live. Feel free to throw any things you want us to bring up, especially on because if it's really related. Thank you once again to everybody who jumped in the chat. They Scottish Danny, Dan Griffin, Graham from Good Cop Bad Cop, Si earlier on as well. Thank you very much. If you're watching again, thank you for watching again. On behalf of us all here, Radio Tekkers, stay safe out there, be kind to everybody, and fuck you, Kurt Zuma. We're out of here.